Hey guys, it's Jen, Not a Real Farm. Thought I'd do a video this morning before it gets too hot. We've had a couple of days of not so great weather, so the tomatoes are kind of saying like, hey, what happened? You can see they're a little bit droopy there, got a little bit chilly out, but they're doing just fine. There's no frost or anything like that. But I've been busy, finally, getting in peppers. You can see here I've got my red pimentos are planted. And then we kind of do this, the way that I do this greenhouse is the back will be tomatoes and then the front is normally everything else. So as we walk along, you'll see that I've got broccoli in, more peppers. We've got the eggplant. I started this eggplant, I'm going to say about a month and a half ago, and it's only this tall. And there are a lot of times I don't grow eggplant because I find it really, really fussy. But this year it doesn't seem to be too bad. This is a Black Beauty eggplant. We've got more peppers here, so these will be my notapinos. And then in between that, we've got sprouting broccoli. Which are growing actually quite good, just because it's still a little bit, it's warm when the sun is here, but at nighttime it's still a little bit chilly. So I can get away with, right about now, growing broccoli, even though it's a cold weather crop. It seems to do okay in the greenhouse. Now here we have more peppers, but in the back, if I lean over, you can see the hops and how well they're actually doing from the last video. So we've already got the hops entangling itself in the cattle panel, and so that'll start to grow like a weed. And the next one over is doing the same thing. So we've got more peppers. The tomatoes, of course, are in the back, so a couple of them have transplant shock, but that's okay. Here is my okra. So my okra is doing amazing, and as a matter of fact, has a little bit of plant shock, but it'll get over it. But if we look really close, you can see it's already got pods forming. So this okra that I have is not going to be a very tall okra. At best, it's probably going to be about 2.5 to 3 feet. And even though it's an heirloom, it puts on quite a bit of okra. So we'll see what happens with that. More purple broccoli. And we've got a couple of plants that are just going, I'm not having it. So these are my little sweetie snack peppers. So these 3 plants here have gone into shock. So most likely what I'll do is, it doesn't look like they're going to recover. So I will just replace it with more that I have sitting in the sunroom in the house. Because I plant multiple for that reason, in case some of them just don't make it. These ones are okay. You can see here if we look really, really close, we move up here. Right in here, we've got, ooh, it's really hard to get in there for you guys to see. There we go. I think that might work. We've got buds, pepper buds in there. So it won't be long before we actually have the beginnings of our pepper fruit. Then we've got more of the okra here. And we're still waiting for our sulky cucumbers to get over themselves and get out of the shock and start climbing. This one isn't too bad. This one is kind of thinking about it and taking his time. So we'll see. If not, we'll replace that. If it's got transplant shock, we'll replace it with another one. And if I turn around tonight, once I'm done planting and transplanting, we've got more asparagus. So this is the purple asparagus I was telling you about. So we've got some that are coming out of the ground still. And then we've got another nice sprig of asparagus on the other side of my roses. Check out this stalk. And this is the one that we harvested on the last video. And this is the new stalk that came up just within that video, I think within the last week. And then we also have another green one that came up on the other side. So we do have a couple of sprigs of asparagus that we're going to eat. And if I back up, of course, the roses are doing their thing. I gave this quite a big haircut this year and thinned it out a bit. So hopefully they'll be okay, but I think they will be. We still got a lot of buds coming out. You can see here, let me just move. So I think this is gonna be a really good growing year for a lot of things. So there's lots of construction and everything going on in here too. So it's not as neat as I'd like it to be, but we'll move around and show you what we have going on. All right, so here's our plant row. That's what I like to call it. So we've got our zucchini plants. We've got, so these are yellow zucchinis that I have growing here. And they're actually quite happy in the bucket. So I'm gonna leave those in there and not do any transplanting. And then we have some butternut squash, which is already fruited and is already flowered. And then we have our Carolina Cross watermelons. So if anybody knows what those are watermelons that get to be anywhere between 20 to 40 pounds. So I'm kind of excited about those. And then we have our beans, so our green beans. Some of them have gone into transplant shock, some of them haven't. But we'll get a good crop out of them regardless before I start growing beans outside. I always try to start a little beans on the inside, just so we have something to munch on. And then eventually what happens is I just clear this out and we plant something else in it. And there's the green asparagus I was telling you about. So the one that we harvested and the one that is ready to go if we wanted to pick it. Then if we turn around here, we've got our, let me just back up. We have our plum tree. So it's still flowering. And it actually makes it smell really amazing in here with a plum tree. So this one is a little bit bigger and it's flowering. This one over here hasn't flowered so much, so it's almost trying to catch up to the other one. We'll see what happens. But this one smells amazing. We've planted a cherry chocolate sunflower, so we put that in our white planter here. So we'll see how that does. And then slowly what's happening is my lavender is coming back with the thyme. And then in this bin this year, I decided to do Swiss chard. So it doesn't take very long for Swiss chard to come up. As a matter of fact, it's starting to come up now. So if we get down to the dirt here, you can see that the seeds have, this is a radish from last year. This is our Swiss chard starting to come up. So the idea this year really is to try to grow, you know, as healthy of greens as possible, because we're going to be trying to do some green smoothies, some green shakes, and really take a lot of the greens from the garden this year inside for the winter. And then I haven't even gotten to this bed yet because there's so many other things going on, but it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that grows mint that my mint is growing back. And then even though I tried to contain the catnip, it's growing back in this little pot. You can see that. But of course, the mint does its own thing. It's all the way up there too. We have our Turkestan oregano that's coming back. So you can see if I move things here, that's coming up nicely. So we just got to get in here and do some work in this little tiny garden. Not a problem. It's kind of a low priority right now until I get to the rest of the stuff. And then coming over here, I've given the grapes a very big haircut. So what I've done is I've trimmed off a lot of the excess branching that was happening with the grapes. But now you can see once I've done that, it's kind of woken up the grapevine. Now, it's probably important to tell you that if you are interested in growing a grapevine, grapevines will only grow their buds on last year's growth. So if you have a bunch of growth that you have from a previous year or the previous year before that, the new buds will not grow on that. And that's why you always see how grapevines are always pruned back, because they will only grow on the previous year's growth. So I've taken a lot of the old growth off, and that's why there's so much sort of slashed, because this branch here, this actually budded 2 years ago. So we've taken this off. But you can see here, once you start trimming a grapevine, you'll almost see that the grapevine has the sap running from it. And that just basically means that your buds are in production. So see here, we've got more buds. And my goal this year with this grapevine, there's more down here, is to really only keep about 60 buds at a time, because if you have 60 buds at a time, that is enough load, if you want to look at it that way, for your grapevine. Other than that, what will happen is it'll be too much production, and your grapes won't be as big. So keep it to about 60 buds, and you should have sort of medium to large size grapes with these. Aren't these beautiful? So we walk in here. I've cleaned out a lot of the excess things that I had in here, just so that I could just give us a little bit more room. So we've got tomatoes growing in here. So these are my mortgage lifters. The mortgage lifters were hitting about 2 pounds last year, so I saved the seed from those. They were growing in here on the other side of the greenhouse, so we're going to see what kind of size we get this year. And then we've cleared out behind here to plant more plants, and that just takes us right to the current bin that goes straight down there all the way around. So we're still planting, guys. It's a big job. And I'm still doing another project in here as well. I'll show you. So I'm smack dab right now constructing. You can see all of my stuff's out of the way, and I've got to dump all of this stuff out and clean it out. But so this area had, if you remember looking around the greenhouse in previous videos, the swing. And now what I'm doing is I'm constructing a birdcage trellis. So I'm not quite done yet. And it'll go up one more panel. So it'll be tall enough that you can actually grow plants. It's got its hook in the middle, or you can even put a light there if you wanted to. I'm going to hang a plant there, but this will be enough that you can put a nice table in here, and you can sit underneath it if you've got plants growing. So I'm kind of excited to get that done, but I've got all the rest of the planting and everything I have to do as well. So everything is sort of in progress. And if we head on outside here to the outside garden, everything still needs to be worked on out here. I haven't even gotten out here yet, but it should be no surprise that your winners in the garden are going to be your red walking onions. So they've already started coming to life. So this is a patch of red walking onions I kind of just threw in here because I really didn't have any space inside the greenhouse for them, but you can tell they're all starting to pop up now that the weather's getting warmer. So we definitely have some cleanup to do out here. And then if we kind of peruse around, we can see that a lot of my garlic beds are still asleep. Nothing's come up yet. So I've got red Russian garlic. I've got Montana Giant. All kinds of different garlic this year. So we're hoping we're going to be able to share the seeds with you when they start. But it's still maybe a little bit too chilly for the garlic. Got Mennonite garlic in this bed, but everything is still out. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for you today. I'm going to be working in the greenhouse, and then hopefully at some point, now that the weather is warming up, we'll be able to start working on our outside gardens as well, and I'll take you along. Hope you enjoyed the garden tour today, guys. See you soon.